Hey there, this is Hans from Request for Music, and this time I'm back with a new tutorial on a module that isn't in the bundle yet, but it'll be there in a couple of days, maybe within a week, which is called THRESH. And THRESH is not a destructor or something, but it's a threshold thingy kind of thing. And that means that the threshold module has an input and an output, and it has two knobs for the thresholds to set and a smoothing knob. And there's modulation inputs for both the thresholds and the smooth. That means that I can set specific thresholds to get information or to get pieces of information out of the wave. So I'll take an LFO in, and I'll put Weevil's multi-scope in there. Oops. Multi-oscilloscope, there it is. So let's take a triangle. Let's first of all take the triangle into the and let's put the frequency up. Yeah, so there we have it. So we have a triangle, and I can put that triangle into this threshold on the input, and I can take the output out, and I'll put it in the next channel so you can see the difference. So the both are now the same triangle, and as soon as I start working on the bottom threshold, you see that it cuts off that bottom threshold, and the same for the top threshold. So I can have different kinds of waves that I can take out of this, depending on whatever you're putting. And as said, you can smooth this as well, so that means that you can create these kind of modulation sources like that. And obviously you don't have to use both of the thresholds like that, so it's up to you how to work with that. But first of all, let's take the smooth thing again, and let's take these parts. So at the moment we have the area between the thresholds, in between, and there's a knob here on top which lets you switch between the amount of or the values in between, but I can actually switch to the outside part, and the middle section is decided by where you put your thresholds there. So but now it takes the peaks outside of that area. So that can give you all kinds of new all kinds of new waveforms, especially when you would combine this. Let's say that I would take, for instance, from my bundle, from the F SYN bundle, I would take the mixer in, for instance. So because the LFO can send both or a couple of waveforms at the same time, so I could actually use both a triangle and a square at the same time if I wanted. So even if I would take these in together now, it would change this. I'm only looking at one waveform here now, but actually it's two, so maybe I'll do it differently to show you what it does. So I'm going to take a square, and I'm going to take the triangle out of this. So I'll take this out of the outcome of the mixer. So now I've got a combination of a square and a triangle, and it depends on how you mix it, what your end result is. But obviously I can take this into the input of this threshold and then go on with that. So now it's taking the outside parts, and I could take the inside parts and change it into something like this, and then smooth that, or take the outside part and smooth that and get some kind of wave that way. So that's nice to be modulating with. So that's one thing that you can use it for. So that means that if I let's take an oscillator and see what it sounds like if you modulate anything with that. First I'll align everything to the left, so I've got a bit more space. And yeah, it's best, I think, to take a VCF and an ADSR out to be able to connect this, hook this up, and close it. So first of all, I'll take my envelope output into the envelope input here, and I'll take a gate out and make sure that the filter is closed and it's only looking at the envelope. So I can hook this up to my output there, and first of all, let's take just the oscillator, take it to the input, and take a pitch output from this to connect. So now I've got this as a sorry as a standard sine wave. But obviously, as I said, I can take this threshold output and put that into my into my input. My output. I was doing it wrong. So now it's high frequency. Something like this. So take it back a notch in frequency. And again, the thresholds decide, because this was the original frequency actually coming in. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the outside. So this is what's normally would be coming in. And I can take this and I won't smooth it. So I've got something like this. So I can smooth it in any way. And I can take the outside part and smooth that. So as said, for normal modulation, that could do some or give you some strange waves to work with. Again, by just combining those, I'm now combining it with a square, combining it with the sawtooth would give you different effects, of course, and then you could amplify it here to get that portion that you want, something like this. So if I take it slower than this, maybe that's a bit too slow, but of course you could do other things as well. I could actually take a VCO out and put that through the threshold and see what that does. So if I'll take the LFO and the mixer out for now and put the VCO on this side and take the output, and I'm not going to hook those up. So what I'm going to do now is just take the output and put that into the input. And first of all, work normally, and we'll see if I can get the the oscilloscope working as well. So I'll take this out, put this into my oops, wrong buttons. Take this threshold out into there, and I'm taking my this into the filter. So I'll take the original wave out, and I'll have to amplify this. Let's see if it's loud enough. A bit louder even. So now obviously this is just a normal sine wave at the moment. Oh, I've got my smoothing on, so that's why it's already very soft. So let's take this down again a bit. So now I'm going to cut off the lower part of this by taking this up, which obviously results in a different sort of wave shape, and take the top part off as well, and maybe smooth the result a bit. So if I wanted to create sort of a triangle wave, I could do it that way. But so I've got at least a different kind of wave shape at the moment, and obviously the more harmonics are in the wave, the more effect you'll get out of it. So first of all, let's go to the triangle wave and see what that does. Maybe smooth it a bit less. And again, I can take the outside part as well. So I'm changing the triangle wave into this kind of thing, and obviously taking something like a sawtooth will result in a different wave shape as well by moving this and take the inner part. Sometimes it will give you some noisy effects, and as a matter of fact, it's not an anti-alias wave that's coming out of it, so you might get some problematic waves at some points. You really have to try out what works and what doesn't work, but at least you could get these kinds of effects, and obviously you could try smoothing this to see if that would work better. But so that's what it does to the VCOs, and the inner and the outer part. So that's a way of using it. And an even other way would be, say that I have, for instance, a sequencer. So I'll put a sequencer there, I'll put the VCO behind here, and I'll take the cables off again from this, disconnect all these cables, and I'll take my my pitch output of the sequencer right now, and I'll take this into the input of my filter again. And oh no, I'm not going to put it in straight away. I'm going to put it here. So first of all, let's take the let's reset it sort of. So I'm taking it back to the standard thresholds. So threshold -5 and +5, because that's what it's looking at, and that means that if I'm now playing this, and it might be nice to have a gate somewhere as well. Obviously this is now not really a very usable sound, but let's work with this a bit, and I'll put this higher up and a bit slower, and I'm just going to put in some notes. Well, let's just take these for now. And so I got this melody going on. And now let's say that I'm just going to work with these. And I'll take these up. Of course, it's going to cut off the lower notes at this point. And the other way around, I could take some of the higher notes off if I wanted. Or take just the outsides. So even that way, I mean, if this would be a more elaborate kind of sequence, so let's stop it for a while and just put in some extra notes. So I'm going to for 16, and I'm going to put some extra low ones in. So one there, 1, 2 minus an octave, and I'm going back there. I'm going up an octave, and maybe even one more octave up, and then back here and back there, and 2 minus 12 again. So now I've got this. Oops. So now I'm going to play around with this. So at the moment, of course, it's playing less notes. So if instead I'm going for a next VCO to drive this with, so let's copy that VCO, and I'll leave this one intact. So instead of going through the threshold, this one is taking the original pitch from the sequence, and I'm going to put that one more octave up, so to 3, and I'm going to use this as a sort of a bass, and this is they're both going, not quite sure if I did it correctly, but I'll take this from the output there, and yeah, let's just see what it does. And I think I did it incorrectly somehow, so let's just hook all the cables up correctly, because yeah, I did it incorrect here. So I have to take my output from the output here, and the other output is coming straight from the pitch there. So, and actually I do have 3 of those, so I could do more, but so now I've got 2 melodies coming from the same sequence, sort of, because one is cutting off the other thing. So I could do that, of course, a second time and take another part of that sequence out and drive another VCO with that. So it has a couple of uses, and one more thing that I haven't shown you yet. I'm going to just take the sequence out. One more thing is that it has indeed those options, and let's take the VCO there, and I'll put the LFO in front of this, and I'm going to drive the threshold with the input, or to the input from the VCO, and I'm taking the output of the threshold of the thresh in there, and I need a gate, and let's see, what have I done wrong? Let's see, I'm taking everything, don't need smoothing. So I got my normal sound at the moment, and I didn't use a pitch there yet. And let's take this back to 0 or 1 or something. Oops, didn't do it. So, and take a longer sound. Okay, so now I'm going to try and drive the bottom, and let's see what comes out of this. So I'm taking the output, and I've got my sawtooth. And normally I could indeed do this, as you know, so I could take this bottom part up, and I'll take another sound, because the sawtooth, as we noticed, did give some distortion in there. It's probably a syncing thing that is happening, but I could do something like this and say that I now actually want to drive the that bottom part using an LFO. I think might have to. I think that if I do it straight away from the LFO, it's probably going too fast, and it's going to mess things up, as you can see. But it's sort of giving you a sort of pulse width kind of thing. But best, of course, is to define how much is going in. So instead of taking it straight into this modulation input, I'll take it through my mixer, where I can set it back to a lower value. this is even too low, but and I could do that obviously for the top part as well. So let's take a next sine wave to drive that, and I'm trying to drive it straight away, but instead I'm going to take it through the mixers as well. And let's take this back already a bit. So, and this is at another frequency than the other part. So, and I might have to change the level for this again. So as you can tell, you can get very complicated kind of wave shapes that way, and still you have the chance of smoothing it or taking the smooth from an oscillator as well. So lots of different sort of uses for this threshold module. So it will be in the bundle in a couple of days, I guess. So yeah, you've got new things to play with, no extra cost. It just will be added to the bundle. So I hope that gives you an idea, and have fun playing with the bundle if you have it. And otherwise, try the demo and see if it's for you. Cheers. Bye-bye.